Alright guys, welcome back to Word in the Shop. This is the first time I've done it in probably 3 months, I guess. So let's try and, I'm going to try and get as much stuff, as many projects into this video as possible. First thing is Combine number 5 here. She was apart for about 2 or 3 weeks. I was doing some underbody work, adding the toolbox. You can kind of see, sorry it's a little dark in here. Yeah, you can kind of see the toolbox there. When I tried to fit it in the first time, it wouldn't fit between the queen posts, so when I tried to widen them, I also found out that they were a little too tall, so I had to shorten the queen posts and I had to get new needles. Well, I had to get new queen posts, I had to make new needle beams, and that took a little while. I had to get the materials and all that. Another thing here is, those of you who haven't been following me on the Facebook page, those of you who haven't been following me on the Facebook page, although you probably should, because I put a lot more updates on there. I put the window frames in one side of Combine number 5. Still have to do the other side. The reason I haven't done it yet is it just takes forever. I also started to put some more wood trim on the car. You can see it a little bit over here, right next to the doors. There's a little bit more I still have to do, but the car is looking really good. It looks a lot more like the real thing than it did before. I'm going to mention this really briefly. Here's my first model of a Sierra flat car. And it's not the flat car that makes this thing so special. It's the special swing motion arch bar trucks that I had to scratch build for it. And sorry, it's really hard to see because it's so dark, but I finished scratch building it just today. The first one, I still have to do the second truck, and it really looks good. I'm really looking forward to having this car finished. So there's that. Decking's not finished yet. I just got some more wood decking, some 2x8s. About a week ago I just got some, so I'll be finishing the decking pretty soon. Then it's on to the finishing the second arch bar truck and the couplers, the brake rigging, and all that stuff. So alright, the big project for this video, sorry about the lighting, is, can you guess what this is? Well, this is a standard module, so this must be the standard depot. How do you think it looks? I really like it. Most of the decking is done so far. It's not completely finished. I still have a little section over there to do, and I still have to do the other side. But the framework for the depot is pretty much done. You can see the canopy over here, and the framework toward the end of the building is done. So now it's pretty much just finish the decking and the coverings for the building, add the siding and the roof and the shingles and all that stuff, and then try and look at the fine details. There's these little vents that go on top of the roof that I'm going to eventually have to install, but unfortunately those are not on the building as it is today. The building still exists. The standard depot is still in existence, but it's heavily modified from the design of the building I'm modeling it as. It looked different in the 1920s than it does now. Here's engine number 3. She's apart again. A lot of you guys are probably shaking your heads like, oh my god, not again. But I have good reason. Every time I take the engine apart, I have good reason. And she is technically still operable, but I'm just working on the details. The smoke box front is removed. I'm thinking about replacing it. As you can see, the pilot is missing. That's because I built a new one. And you can clearly see the difference between the two pilots. The new one is on the left, the old one's on the right. This time I actually built the pilot to almost perfect scale on the left. I spent a weekend at Railtown recently, and part of that time was spent measuring the 3's original pilot from the 1920s. So yeah, that pilot is 99.9% scale. I have to do some work on the tender. I'm thinking it's a little bit too tall, which is funny because I went and measured the thing in person. Didn't use any drawings for that. So yeah, I'm thinking about, going back to Railtown and measuring it again and chopping it, shortening it down a little bit. I don't remember if this was done in the last Word in the Shop, but number three's cab, she has her new cab again, and it looks so much better than the old one, especially because I've added the rain catchers over the windows, and it looks really good. It just needs its window frames. It's going to take a little while because I recently made a window frame for Sierra number 30, and that was a lot of work just for that one little part. Well, anyway, so the number 3, I'm hoping to have her done in the next 2 or 3 months. It's going to take a little while because I'm just lazy when it comes to certain projects like that. But I really should, so I can have another engine running again. So yeah, the depot I'm hoping to have done in the next 2 to 3 months as well. It really doesn't need a whole lot of work as I'm not doing any interior in it. My reason for that is I have no idea what it would have looked like in the 1920s. Sure, I could go inside it now, I think. I believe it's some kind of Whole Foods grocery store or something like that, so the interior is completely changed. So I have no idea what it would have looked like, so there's no point in modeling it. Up here we have the Jamestown Motor Car Shed. It's got its shingles on the roof. The other side, it has its shingles, but they're kind of like pried up because I had to do some repairs on the, the styrene roof line, that the shingles are on top of. I had to cut some of it out, and I have to put like a patch of styrene in there. So hopefully that'll be done in another month. Really, I'm not doing any interior in that either, so it should be pretty easy to do. Over here we have my model of Sierra Railway coach caboose number 9. Really it is a combine, it's just that the car has a cupola on it. I'm not really sure why it does either. I'll be modeling it in its passenger service years on the Angels branch and on the main line from Jamestown to Tuolumne. So it'll be painted green. This is a ye olde Huff and Puff kit, which is basically Silver Streak kits redone, remolded and all that stuff. It takes a lot of modifications actually, because I had to build a new cupola. It's all scratch built, that little cupola there. I also have to build a new roof because the one it came with was arched, and the number 9 never had an arched roof minus the cupola. So yeah, there's that. Right over here is the frame and motor and all that for Sierra number 28, and down on the little right is the balloon stack for Sierra number 3. So hopefully the number 28 will be taking shape this year, but not really sure how that's going to go. So here's Atlas Junction, Sierra number 30 and her little short train over there. As you can see, I pulled up some of the rails. Actually, the rails are right here next to the track. I pulled up the Code 70 rails and I'm replacing it with Code 55 because I recently found out that Code 55 more closely matches the Sierra's 60-pound rail on the main line during the 1920s. And I'm trying to get everything about modeling the Sierra as accurate as possible, so that includes the rail size. So I'm ripping up all my Code 70 rail over, I guess, 3 of my modules. Warnerville, Atlas Junction, and Standard is all going to be ripped up and replaced with Code 55, and that's going to take a little while. I'm only doing it portion by portion. I'm not ripping it all up and then slowly putting it back. I'm just, changing pieces out as I go along. It's looking really good. I've actually weathered some of this rail, but because it's so dark you can't really see. Let's come over here to Sierra number 30. She's still running. Yeah, some of you are probably surprised, but yeah, she's still in working order. She runs perfectly. Don't run her too much anymore though, because I'm always working on things, so I'm hardly ever running any trains, especially because this last section of track over here is not laid down yet. The reason for that, by the way, is I don't have enough rail joiners for Code 55 rails. I'm actually going to be doing Proto 87 track laying you know, where there's 6 spikes per tie, 3 on each rail. And then tie plates and rail joiners, you know, proto rail joiners and all that stuff. I'm going to be changing over to that. So I'm not really worried about the rail joiners, you know, the regular rail joiners right now, because I'm going to be changing them out too. But anyway, CR number 30 is back together. I mentioned a window frame that I installed. It's pretty simple, but it was actually really difficult to do. You can kind of see it's a little hazy. So, you know, that's obviously a little sliver of plastic. You know, like I was trying to say, it normally would not be difficult to build that, except that before you put the plastic in, you have to paint the window frame so that, you know, when it's all done, you don't see the wood grain. You know, you don't see the natural color of the wood, you see the black. So you had to paint the frame and then try to insert that little plastic sliver in there, and it was really difficult. Let's see, what else have I done to the 30? Oh, that's right. I scratch built a whistle for her. I couldn't find a whistle that really matched very well, so I went and built one. Actually, it only took me about 3 hours to go, 3 hours to build it. Sorry, you can't see it very well. You really can't see anything very well between the lack of light and my shaky hand. Sorry about that. But let's see if you can see the figures in the cab. Got the brakeman in there. The brakeman is riding up in the cab. No fireman yet. I'm still looking for an appropriate figure. But the engineer's in there. He would have his hand on the throttle if the 30 had one. At the moment she does not. I'll be working on that soon. So yeah, there's not a lot that I've added to the 30 in the last few months. But hey, at least I haven't taken anything off. So another thing here, let me move these cars out of the way so you can see it better. Switch stand. I finally got a switch stand for my switch over here. The Sierra was known in its later years for painting their stands white with red targets, but because I didn't have any photographs from the 1920s, you know, any color photographs I might add of their switch stands, I didn't know what color they were, so I went with the basic red and black, you know, the red target and the black stand. And if you look at some black and white photos, it definitely doesn't look like their stands were painted white at that time, so yeah, that's what I went with, and I like it. I like the decision. So yeah, I think it looks good. Well, anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. Actually, I do have one more thing to show. Come on, focus. I finally got some lettering on one of my crossbucks. I have 2 crossbucks now for Atlas Junction, by the way. Still have to do the other one. The reason I haven't yet is because it's fixed in place. I accidentally put a little too much glue and it, you know, stuck a little too well. So this one I was able to remove and I got the lettering back on it. I still have to put "Look out for the cars" along the spine, but other than that, it's pretty good. Well, anyway, guys, so that's pretty much it for this Word in the Shop. I don't have much else to talk about. Tried to cover as much as I could. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry I got to this a little late in the day, but hey, at least you got a Word in the Shop. So hopefully I'll see you guys within the next couple of months. After I get more projects done, then I'll make another one. I'll make another Word. So just keep an eye out for that, and I'll see you later.